can hear me, and thanks for allowing me to tell you a little about the work we do. I have focused more on the next step, because I know that Marsman and also Martin are going to tell about what is already out there and the plans. So first, Car2Car, I think you all know us. We are a pretty old consortium. We are plus 20 years old. I think it's very clear we also share the Vision Zero with the rest of you. Maybe just a very quick point here. There's been a lot of discussion about the radio, with radio technology, etc. Some people might consider Car2Car as being full the 802.11p type of thing. However, just for reference, only 1% of our requirements in our profile relates to the radio interface. All the rest of our work is basically agnostic to the radio interface. I think this is kind of important because the interface discussion is stealing a lot of attention, but that is not where the work is. So I think we've been into this. So the key elements why we have a successful deployment in Europe is basically that we have engaged with all the stakeholders. This is important. We cannot work independent of these others. So yes, CITS, as Martin said, the C stands for cooperation, but it's not only in the field between the vehicles and the infrastructure, it is also amongst all the stakeholders. So it is very important for us to work on all of this, and as you can see here, it is not only the car OEM and the road operators, it is also the providers of micromobility and all the other stakeholders in here. And we do this basically to ensure interoperability across the brands. So maybe I won't go too much into the next, because I think Martin have already said that there is a successful deployment. There's a lot of cars out there, over 2 million as far as I know, and 20,000 kilometers plus of roads, etc. So now we are working on the definition of the day two, so beyond what is already implemented. I always like to have this slide here, because you can see here we have roadworks. We see a lot of presentations say, yeah, we have roadworks, we're supporting roadworks warning. So on the next slide, this is a service. But the devil is in the detail. I think Martin is laughing and see this slide a lot of time. But this is how a roadworks actually look like. So how do you get? So this is not what you get into the message. This is what you need to include in the message. All the details of where are the change of speed limit, where are the changes to the lanes, etc. That is what we need to get into the message. So just to be very, So just to be very clear, yes, we work and focus on direct communication, but it doesn't mean that we are against cellular communication, etc. We believe both have its role. I won't go into detail here. Of course, the aim is that you never get to the right-hand side of the red line where we have the crash. We really want to only be on the left-hand side. But that's it. So let me go to where we're moving. We are basically moving towards the sharing of observation. This is what we are adding in the next phase here, because we believe that sharing this, the observation, basically sharing the sensors from the infrastructure, from the vehicles, etc., is the best way we can protect vulnerable road users. It's also a way to kind of speed up penetration, because it takes a long time to replace all vehicles in the field. So here, basically, we made also the non-equipped road participants visible in the system. So also We are looking longer term. We are looking into sharing intentions and planning information, things like that. Maybe it's not necessary to go into the detail of all of that. Maybe it's more important to go in and say, yes, we have a roadmap for all of this. So you can see at the left side, this is what we have, what we started with in 2020, or the Gulf was already 2019. The second, and in that phase, we basically just share information about ourselves. In the next phase, we are sharing information about the environment, what we see, etc. And that is what we're working at now. The goal is basically within this year, start next year, we should have the standards here, so specifications here. So I work for the car-to-car communication consortium. We provide the specifications. So when it hits the markets, it's up to, of course, the industry. Then the third phase, what we're looking at, is basically towards the maneuver coordination, things like that, where we have coordinated interaction between the vehicles, and then we move, of course, long-term, as also Christian said, we are moving towards autonomous driving. Here is a bit more detail on each of the services, etc. So how do we do that? And I think it's important to say here, what we've done is we're defining a set of objectives. It is also important, as you can see from this figure here, that yes, we do our part, but we are working currently on integrating the objectives together with C-roads, so we have a common set of objectives for the overall system. Of course, each them work on their details. Another thing here is, I think you'll see that in the previous one, is that we are not only focusing on the car. We are basically trying here to ensure that we have all types of vehicles and road participants in here. So we are working also, I think e-bikes was mentioned, we are working very closely also with e-bike manufacturers on how to integrate them in the system, etc. Of course, the specifications we do would also work for a push bike. However, the difference between an e-bike and a push bike is that an e-bike actually have a power source. So to include a communication unit might be slightly easier on that. But also agriculture, power two-wheelers, trains, that being anything from tram to long-range trains, etc. What is important for us for all of that when we do the next generation is that everything we do shall be backwards compatible. So when somebody goes out, buy a car today, or buy a roadside unit today, should not be obsolete just because we add some services. So if I buy a car today, it might support all of the features from our first deployment. That shall still maintain its full functionality, even though it moves into an environment which is deployed based on our next generation of standard. This is very important for us. Similar shall if I buy one of the new ones and move to the old environment, I should get all the services which were defined for the day one, all the services which exist in the old environment. So what we do here, in addition to do new services, we are also improving the existing services by providing more detail, so being more specific, for instance, about when we have an event, where the event is, the lane, etc. So we are improving the capability of these things. So this is basically what we are doing, and then of course we are also exchanging new type of information, as I showed before, with multiple perception, etc. And also we are using these information properties, so you can basically assist some of the ADAS functionality by you have information of what is, so to speak, gonna happen, what the other sensors would detect. So I won't go much in detail. I think Martin has already shown very clearly that we cooperate with Sea-Roads. We also cooperate with a number of other organizations. Just to be very clear, all our documentation is available. You can go and download it there. Of course, we are also an open organization, so if you are interested in participating in our work, helping us out on that, of course, we can always discuss memberships of the organization. The basic system profile, Sea-Roads also have a profile for the infrastructure. What is very important, why do we have this profile, is that we basically need to understand what triggers a message. If I receive a message saying hard braking, if I have no clue on when another vehicle sends a hard braking, is it 4 meters per square second which trigger it? Is it 1 meter per square second which trigger it? Or 10 meters per square second which trigger it? If I have no clue, then the information is useless. So with that, you can see a lot of other things. I always like to end with this slide. We have basically a challenge here. It's very nice that we can put everything on the same communication platform, etc. But especially now when you saw we are including all the different types of vehicles, infrastructure, pedestrians with mobile phones, the lifetime of the equipment is not the same. I'm pretty sure that our two OEMs who are doing the next presentation would be very happy if everybody bought a new car as often as they buy a new mobile phone. But I'm not thinking that's going to happen. So we really have a challenge here, and we have to keep that in mind. That at least in Europe, I think the average lifetime of a car is 15 years plus. I think for infrastructure, often they talk 20, 25 years when they invest in something. This is what we're up against. With that, I would close.